Because Western intelligence officials and Microsoft have warned the state-sponsored Chinese hacking group has been spying on critical infrastructure networks across the United States. The US National Security Agency and its allies say similar activities could be occurring globally. Microsoft said that the group, codenamed Volt Typhoon, was looking at ways to disrupt critical communications between US and Asia. China's foreign ministry has dismissed the claims accusing the US of initiating a disinformation campaign. Well, let's get the latest on this story. Let's talk to our security correspondent, Gordon Carrera. So, Gordon, just take us through it, the basic core planks of what we know that's being alleged here.
Yes, this is a joint advisory from 5 Western nations saying that a hacking group, which they say is linked to the Chinese state, has been carrying out this quite stealthy campaign to hack into infrastructure, things like telecoms providers, transportation links, and particularly Microsoft saying that they also believe that as well as espionage, which happens all the time, there is also the possibility, they say they only have moderate confidence, but a possibility that there was the intention to be able to disrupt communications. Particularly interesting, I think it singles out the island of Guam, which is a US territory in the Pacific, as being one place where this took place. Now, the implication of that is that this is more than just normal espionage, the kind that happens between nations, but there's the possibility that China was developing some kind of capability perhaps to disrupt those communications if, for instance, there was a crisis over Taiwan and it wanted to disrupt the ability of the US to take some kind of action or communicate in response. So I think that's one of the reasons why this is being seen as something slightly more than just the normal spying campaigns that we do hear about quite frequently, and which makes it more interestingly. But as you said, the Chinese have labelled this as misinformation. They've also said it's the US, which is, in its words, an empire of hacking, and certainly the US also carries out espionage against China, it's worth saying.
And in terms of consequences, having come to this conclusion, what do you envisage?
Well, I think this is interesting because espionage happens, but this has been called out quite publicly, which doesn't always happen. I think in this case, it's because many of the companies that were being hacked were private sector companies, not just government organizations. And therefore, the advisory that's been put out is about warning them, about giving them details so that they can spot and remove any malicious actors on their computer networks. So there's a reason why the Western governments have gone public with this, but there's also a risk sometimes when you do go public that it can turn into a bit of a diplomatic row. So we saw that over spying a few months ago with those very high-profile Chinese balloons which were going over US territory and alleged to be involved in spying. Now, in that case, that actually did disrupt diplomatic relations. It led to the cancellation of high-level meetings that were due between US and Chinese officials. Now, relations have been actually improving in the last few weeks. There have been renewed diplomatic contacts. I don't think that this claims about cyber espionage will be that disruptive. This is most likely going to be seen as business as usual by both sides, despite the kind of rhetoric you're hearing today. So I don't envisage a huge setback in any way for diplomatic relations from this.
OK, Gordon, thanks for taking us through all of that. Thank you very much.